Hey everybody, so in today's video we're going to take a look at a short film that I scored at the beginning of this year. It was a live action anime film, and I really wanted to share this film because it highlights a lot of great things that we've discussed on this channel, from orchestration to tempo change to telling the story with music and with silence. And so I'm excited to jump on in. If you haven't seen any other videos that I've done on this series, there's a link right here so you can be sure to check those out. But let's jump on in. But first, before we jump into the analysis of the score, let's take a look at the opening scene to get some context. Hope you enjoy.
Once I begin, there is no going back. Your memory will be gone, completely erased, and you will awaken anew.
So like I mentioned in the intro, we're going to take a look at a short film that I scored at the beginning of this year. It's a live action anime film, and being a huge fan of Studio Ghibli and watching so much Toonami growing up after school, I used a lot of my influences from that style of storytelling in this score. It's a kind of blend of traditional orchestration and lush harmony with some analog synthesizers as well to add mood and texture. So this cue is broken kind of into two sections. We have the opening scene that sets up the drama, and then we have the last portion. And how I kind of break the two apart is by tempo. If you notice here, I have this opening scene at 63 beats per minute, slows down a little bit, and then we ramp back up for the second part. So we're going to dissect the first portion and then the second. So let's jump on in. This opening portion is just more or less kind of establishing the tone. I've got some analog synthesizers. I've got my Minimoog, and I've got some VSTs going on down here as well. And here's our first melodic idea. It's one of the themes in the short. If you notice there as well, the bell hit when he put his foot on the missing person poster. There's a cut there as well to the frog. There's some space going on here because the character is, you know, realizing that they have to give up something for this exchange that's about to happen. So the melody comes back when he looks down at his hat, which he gives as a token. The melody is now repeated, but in a more of a arpeggiated fashion, similar to a piano. And we slow down. I love that shot. And then we have the next section, which we'll talk about in a second. So there's a couple things I want to talk about in this first section. First being the cuts. So we have the first introduction of the melody in this music box here. So if you notice, as he puts his foot down, that's when the hit happens. Unbeknownst to the audience, the missing person actually is this character. So there's a lot of space. And the next cut is right here with this frog. And so the next thing that I want to show as well is this camera work. I wanted to highlight the difference between this mysterious hooded character, who is actually this kind of magician, and then one of the other main characters. And this character is coming to this magician to help him forget a really hard memory that he experienced. And he has to give a token to help to do that, which is what he gave up in just his hat. So if we listen to this first portion here, we have this pan here from his perspective, and then this pan from this perspective. And then we have this resolution. We have this interplay here between the two characters. And the next thing I want to show is this. So if you listen, so this chord right here, harmony-wise, it's outlining the one chord with a 5 in the bass, so it's a G minor with a D in the bass. So harmonically, it's 1 or 5, 1, 5, and then we resolve to this E flat. And so the last chord we land on is we go G over D, and then we do a D7, which is the 5 chord. And technically, this E flat is not in the key of a D7 chord, but this is what we call an extension. So we're using what's called a flat 9. So we're taking the 9th and we're lowering it a half step. So if I were to take this D as E and move E flat, move to an E, here's what it would sound like. Right? So it works, it's just not as, it doesn't evoke the same emotion. If I take the same idea and move to an F sharp, that also can work, but it's not the same emotion. I wanted to have some mystery because we don't really know what's going on. And so when we have this flat 9, this extension, it evokes more of a mysterious sound. See? So the last thing I'm going to talk about is the harmony. And so like I said, this cue is in G minor. And then we go to a D7 with an F sharp in the bass. And then we go to an F6. And then the next portion we do is a C7, and then we end up on the E flat, which is the flat 6, and then we do to the D7, and then the last cool part we do is this, which is an A7, and then back to a D. So harmonically we're going 1, 5 with a 3 in the bass, flat 7, so at F6, and then we're doing a flat 7 or a 4 chord, dominant 4, and then we're doing the flat 6, E flat, and then we're going to the D7, and now to continue this chromatic downward step, I wanted to have this C sharp. And so C sharp is indicative of an A7, which is the 5 of 5, the 5 of the 5 chord, because the 5 chord in the key of G is D. So the 5 of that chord is an A7. So we have G minor, 5 of 3 in the bass, flat 7, dominant 4, flat 6, okay, and then 5, and then a dominant 2, and then we have the suspension. So for the last section, I decided to go completely different with it. I decided to introduce the full orchestra. I have contrabass, viola, cello, and violin 1 and violin 2, each having their own parts. And then I also have a harpsichord as well. So just to kind of show you what that sounds like, just to kind of give context, let's jump right into it. Harmonically, it's actually this next section is very simple. It's a repeated statement twice. Here we go. So here's another section of it. And right here, the cut. Then it drops back down to the beginning. Okay. So a couple of things for this last section. So harmonically, it's very similar to the beginning, but it's a little more stripped down. So we just have 1, and then we have flat 7, flat 6, and then a 5. So that's like literally so much music has this progression. So it does it twice. It goes down. The next part though, which is cool, actually let's play it so you can hear it. So we have, and also the melody is going up, is ascending, while the bass line or the harmony is descending. It's a very common trick, but it's very powerful. So if you listen, the melody will go up, the bass line will go down. Flat 7, melody goes up, flat 6, 5. Again. Flat 6, 5. Now here's the harmony is different. Now we go to the minor 4 chord, which the Beatles chord, they didn't invent it, but they use it in all their songs. So we go to the minor 4 to the flat 3, and then we do the dominant 2. I'm sorry, we just do the 2, and then the 5. And then the 1. Thank you guys so much for watching this video. I hope you enjoyed it. I have a couple other videos on the horizon, so please feel free to look out for those. In the meantime, please like and subscribe, and I'll see you guys next time.